This video is brought to you by World Anvil. I'm feeling it again, folks. Do you feel it too? That's right, I am once again feeling the urge to use my artistic abilities to draw something stupid. I've been working on some more planned out serious videos lately, some stuff that's like a little bit more lore heavy, more thought intensive, more labor intensive. And this week, by golly, I just want to draw something spontaneous and silly. So you guys know the drill at this point. I post a submission over on Instagram asking for you guys to send me random aesthetically pleasing images from Pinterest and anywhere else on the internet, and then I select some of those that I am enticed by and I use them as prompts to create some wacky, weird, creative characters. However, we have a catch once again this week, because all the way back in January I did one of these episodes in the way that I usually do it, but I also went online and randomly generated like a setting and a prompt for like some world building to go alongside the characters, and that sprawled into like this crazy cursed circus world, and it's one of my favorite character design videos I've ever made. I had so much fun with it, so I thought this week we would just go and do that again. Just throw caution to the wind and let the universe roll the dice for us. Apparently, I just love being at the mercy of whatever random robot I pull up on Google. So let's see what ingredients you have for me this week. So I was actually good this week and I didn't go in and look at any of these ahead of time. So this is a completely raw reaction to whatever it is in my phone right here. Oh, I'm already seeing just a feast for the eyes. I really like this one. Oh, I didn't notice that they had sunglasses on. Wow, I wish I was that cool. This is also, wow, this is trippy. Ooh, who are you? Oh my god, someone's so bedazzled. Where do I buy one of these? I would also like to know where to buy this. This is just silly. The ancient beings are communing again. Now, what the hell is this? Y'all are ridiculous sometimes. Ooh, this is delicate. I like this. Oh, do we have a knife? Knife squirrel. You know how I did that pile of owls a while back? What if this one got a similar treatment? Whoa! Wizard's absolutely throwing down in the back of what looks like a McDonald's. Ah! Not the bread cat! Images that make you go, ah! Oh, I'm choosing the silly stuff today. Listen, the Furby community needs to be stopped, but I did screenshot it, so. The caption is just, Easter's coming. Not much is left of Easter in this photo. Okay, this is another thing where it's like, this is fabulous, but I don't think I can improve on it. It's already perfect. The little eyeball guy in there is giving Mike Wazowski without his skin suit on. I challenge you to ever unsee that. I have a theory that if you grew up with these books in like your homeroom in school as a child, you turned out a certain type of way. Guess which category I fall into. It just keeps going. Oh, it keeps going. Oh, it just keeps going. I cannot find the end. So here's what we're gonna do this week. I usually like to react to all of the images that I end up using in the video, but I got so many submissions, there's just no way I'm gonna be able to scroll through and actively react to all of them. So instead, what I'm gonna do is scroll through all of them and take a look off camera, and then I will come back to you with my verdict and let you know which ones I chose. That way I can at least look at all of them and like choose from the entire amount of submissions. I think that's the most fair way, because otherwise I'm only going to get to like the first 10th of the submissions in the actual video, and that's just no fun. So I'm gonna do that off camera, and then I will check back in with the results. While Indecisive Kira is working on that, allow me to tell you about the extremely fitting sponsor of today's video, World Anvil. You know how we've all had that sprawling folder of character and world building documents, or even worse, a physical book that becomes absolutely impossible to keep organized over time? Well, today's sponsor is the solution to that problem. World Anvil is the ultimate all-in-one software for tabletop gamers, fantasy novelists, and anyone who loves world building and character creation. As someone who does a lot of character and world building on the channel on a regular basis, I have been looking for a simpler, more organized way to get all of my ideas down in one place, and I love that World Anvil allows you to do that in such an interconnected, visually appealing way. With their writing and world building tools, you can create wiki-like articles for your characters, settings, and world details. You can use the relationships feature to connect characters to one another in visual ways to understand group dynamics at a glance. You can create interactive maps, interactive family trees, historical timelines, and have hyperlinks connecting all of the intricate details of your world. The amount of time that this saves is incredible, because I've tried doing this with normal Word documents. It's not worth it. Getting all of your lore details in one place with World Anvil really helps you to get an overview of your progress so that you can fill in the gaps and start making your universe feel real. Bringing characters to life also obviously takes a lot of thinking, so they even have brainstorming tools like their whiteboard feature that allows you to draw and workshop ideas in real time, and you can even upload images of your characters or designs and annotate them with their stylized markers. If you're a writer, they have a novel planner and writing software with drag and drop scenes and chapters, and even include publishing, subscription, and monetization features. And finally, for the gamers out there, they have a digital GM screen and campaign manager with support for over 45 tabletop RPG systems, and they offer an extensive library of character sheets and stat blocks. World Anvil is a great way to tell a story alongside your art and characters, which, as you know, is what I'm all about on this channel. So if you'd like to use World Anvil to bring your characters to life and give them some lore to play in, you can get 51% off any premium subscription with the code PRICKLY. Thank you so much to World Anvil for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to Indecisive Kira. And we're back. Indecisive Kira finally made a decision, and I ended up choosing 4 images this week. Firstly, this cursed Beanie Baby submitted by Selkie.sketches.art. These 2 wizards in presumably a fast food restaurant embroiled in some Emperor Palpatine stuff, submitted by Pixie.polly. This blinged out cockroach, submitted by I'm.Mothman. And finally, this chicken that looks like they're trying to hide from paparazzi or something like that, also submitted by I'm.Mothman. I did not realize that I doubled up on submissions. Whoops. But you know what? Whenever the chicken in the sunglasses speaks to your artistic sensibilities, you answer. Welcome to today's installment of A Dumb Robot Decides My Fate. Of course, alongside the randomization process of you guys sending me who knows what from Pinterest and the internet to use as prompts, I am also going to be randomly generating both the genre and the setting for this group of wacky characters. After a decent amount of internet searching, I kind of managed to find the same generators that I was working with last time. The setting generator is the same. I could not for the life of me find the genre generator again. It's just gone. But I found something that's close enough. So first up, genre. Ooh, fingers crossed. What are we gonna get? Inverted detective. So all that is kind of extra information because, like, I'm not writing a story here, but this gives me a lot to go off of for the vibe of the characters. There's a fun dynamic in there. All right, on to the setting generator. All right, this one has given me some weird stuff in the past. So what do you have for me today? Okay, so a dark and foreboding Palais Garnier opera house engaged in a naval war in a world where people live in a giant floating city in the sky. Well, we're gonna be eating well tonight. I'm really excited now. Oh yes. Now the only question is, do I take it in an overly dramatic direction, or do I make it as silly as possible? Okay, so after generating my setting and genre prompt, as I often do, I began to spiral and world build, and I basically just dove into what is essentially making, you know, a whole prompt for another story and building characters off of it, which is good, because that is the premise of this video. However, this is also the second video that I am making and putting out this week, and you know, right now we just don't have time to do that the way I have been building it in any kind of like a meaningful, valuable way. So in light of the fact that I have already started drawing environment concept art for a character design video, and yes, we have like spiraled that much already, I'm going to save the specifics of part of this prompt for a later time, hopefully next week, if not then sometime very soon. And instead, this week, still create character designs that are going to be based within this universe, but not like the main characters for the idea that I have brewing in my head. Because there's just no way that I can, you know, do that this quickly. So let me just elaborate a little bit on the world building that I have so far so that you understand why these character designs are so strange. I'm just gonna show my whole freaking Pinterest board while I explain this, because I feel like that will do a better job at getting my point across than my words can right now. But I basically took the prompt, a dark and foreboding Palais Garnier opera house engaged in a naval war in a world where people live in a giant floating city in the sky, and expanded upon it to like figure out the origins of this world. Like, why do people live in a giant floating city in the sky? Naval war? What's all that about? If people are in the sky, is it like
ocean navy ships? Or would it be like sky ships, airships perhaps? And from there my brain and ideas kind of snowballed as they always do, and I was like, okay, if they live in the air, why can't they live on the ground? Assuming there is a ground for them to live on. And the idea that filled that in for me was like, maybe the ground got destroyed and that's why there's like giant chunks in the sky that they can live in. Maybe it threw off the gravitational pull of this planet so that there's just like floating cities and stuff like that. What if the war was of like a nuclear nature, so the ground is relatively uninhabitable? Maybe there's like fallout that makes it unsafe. Maybe there's like strange mutations that resulted from the radiation, and the people and animals that remained on the surface turned into like monsters, maybe even like kaiju-sized monsters. So at this point, the world building for this idea kind of evolved into something that felt very like One Piece-y mixed with Studio Ghibli films, mixed with the cities in Arcane, but floating in the sky. So I thought in this video, instead of designing the characters for that main opera house storyline, it would be fun to design some characters that could exist in this universe. So perhaps other ship captains, factional leaders, you know, just weird background characters to set the tone of everything. So first up, we have weird little Ram Beanie Baby, and I am ordering these character designs in order of least weird to most weird, because let me tell you, it does get progressively more odd as we go on. I did not pull my punches in this week's video. And if this sketch has progressed to where you can tell what this is, you should know that means something, because this character is definitely odd. So I very much stuck with the idea that these are all kind of ship captains in some ways, maybe not like a pirate ship in particular, but they're definitely the leaders of their respective little vessels. I also kind of went for the concept that each vessel sort of has a bit of an overarching theme, at least the airships in this video. I feel like the world building that I've set up very much lends itself to sort of like factionalism and cults and groups of people who are really weird getting together and like enabling each other's weirdness. So I feel like the airship that this person is a captain of just has like girly witchy vibes. I look at this Beanie Baby and I'm like, yep, weird, but like this is the embodiment of just girly things. This Beanie Baby with the multiple eyes, spike horns, and pink bow would open its mouth and ask me if I would like to live deliciously. So I feel like this lady, who I've been mentally calling Aria because I was very inspired by the Aries zodiac for this character, and it also is Aries season. I feel like she is the captain of an airship of like all girl pirates, and they just go around plundering and taking whatever they like, and in their free time they like to have tea parties and do ballet and occasionally the odd ritual sacrifice. I feel like life on this airship would essentially be a crossover between Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette and the end of Robert Eggers' The Witch. So design-wise, I feel like this one is the one that I tried to imbue with the most energy from the inspiration image, because for the other ones I kind of ended up just going for it. I was just having fun in this video, what can I say? But for this one, I really took the idea of a ram or a lamb or whatever this is supposed to be, the many eyes, the horns, and the little pink bow, and tried to like extrapolate that into kind of an outfit. So first up, I feel like everyone in this crew would be some kind of mutated human-animal hybrid. So for this character, I feel like she would kind of be a fawn creature, but with a ram instead of like a deer type animal. So I gave her big old thick ram fawn legs, and I imagine that she also has some real horns going on, but I took the idea of like the multiple eyes and the ram face, and I kind of turned that into a mask. I like the idea of using masks to conceal your identity and intimidate as a pirate captain. So she's got a big old multi-eyed ram head mask with multiple sets of weird horns going on, but I imagine the smallest ones at the very top are probably her real horns. From there, I gave her a big old matching white pirate coat. Again, I feel like the big shapes and just the grandeur of it all is meant to intimidate and kind of show status. Plus, you know, the added practicality of it probably gets cold whenever you're high up in the air. From there, I mostly based the rest of the clothing and design on the little bow that the plushie has tied around its neck. This didn't give me a ton to go on, but it did give me at least a color palette. So I kind of took that and ran with it. I decided to first of all give her just the exact same bow basically tied around her neck. I feel like that neck scarf kind of thing is very piratey, so I thought it fit really well. And I took that same wraparound kind of bow concept and gave her a wraparound skirt that has a giant bow on the side. Once again, wrapping garments feel very piratey, very practical. Less practically, on top of all of that, I also gave her a fancy corset that, you know, it might just be the exact same style and type of corset that I made in yesterday's video. Is this here just because I have S-bend corsets on the brain and I just think they look nice? Hey, maybe, but it does look nice. Corsets, also very piratey. Branching off of the corset at the top, I also have kind of a harness bra situation. It's giving Hot Topic a little bit, but I also thought it played in well with the edgy, witchy vibes. To round everything off, I also gave her some little fuzzy arm sleeve warmers that are sort of wrapped in pink ribbon too, and then also gave her some little boots with pink ribbon on them, except they're not boots, so that she can have her little hooves out. Finally, I gave her a little unbranded Beanie Baby earring because no free promo, and I rounded out the design with studded fingerless gloves and a big old matching sword, because sometimes I don't need a reason. Sometimes these character designs are just me time, and I don't know what to tell you. This is just an anime character with a mysterious hot girl personality who can cut you. Next up, we got the wizards in the fast food kitchen, and guys, let me tell you, this is probably conceptually the most out there idea that I have in this video, but just stay with me. Hang on. Strap yourselves down if you have to. This one basically emerged as another world-building thought experiment, and it basically sort of emerged by thinking about, okay, if people can't live on the surface of whatever planet that they live on, then agriculture and the production of food is probably massively different, and that would really affect what kind of food people have access to and what kind of food they can even make. A lot of meat that we currently rely on in our diets probably doesn't exist anymore because species have mutated so drastically. I'm sure that also goes for different kinds of fruits and vegetables. So that possibly means burgers don't exist anymore. Can't get a good burger. Pizza? Can't get one. Can't get a good bowl of ramen. A bunch of the good yummy food that we have right now straight up just probably doesn't exist anymore. And how sad is that? But you know what does exist probably? Magic, the dark arts, alchemy. What if there were entire divisions of magic practitioners trying to bring back the food that we used to have? What if there was an entire cult-like coven of magic users trying to bring back fast food through high-level alchemy? That's right, folks, that's who this fella is. He's the fast food alchemist. He is the fry cook multi-wizard. Or should I say they are, because there are a couple of conjoined twins who are very, very talented in fast food alchemy. They are the most adept at fast food alchemy probably out of anyone. So much in fact that, you know what, maybe they accidentally started a cult. Maybe they have a fast food cult airship. Picture it. It's an airship with a construction vaguely resembling the architecture of a 1990s McDonald's, and on board there's just a whole slew of magicians, wizards, and witches desperately trying to make a pizza. When they get good enough at it, maybe they open a drive-thru. Maybe they start a little fast food airship with food made of magic and mysterious transmuted parts. All I'm saying is that you don't want to know what they had to sacrifice to get those large fries. So, like I said, this wizard here is the central figure of this particular food cult. I feel like there's many food cults within this world. Just given how much snobbery exists around food in our world, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. And also, food has a lot of, like, cultural value and importance, so it makes sense that people would be trying to, like, rediscover that. So, wizards George and Augustus, that's why I decided to call these guys, just so happen to be the ones who got really good at transmuting fast food, and they open a little airship fast food restaurant, but since fast food is such a scarcity in this world, it's viewed as, like, you know, 5-star dining, and George and Augustus are revered as the Gordon Ramsays, the Guy Fieri's, the Alton Browns of this world. Everyone wants to eat at the Fry Cook Multi-Wizard restaurant. Does the food give you IBS because it's magic and not technically real? Sure, but it is just that good. So design-wise, I wanted to, you know, pun intended, lean into the cheese of this idea and kind of go full-on 90s, like you would see this character design on a cereal box kind of vibe. So of course, I made George and Augustus conjoined twin wizards inspired by the two wizards in the inspo image. I of course gave them lots of fast food whirling around them and like cooking processes happening, and I could have given them basic black robes and hats and the non-slip work shoes that they have on in the inspo image, but I wanted to give it just a little bit more flair. They are cult leaders, after all. You guys will learn about this eventually whenever I do the more serious side of this episode around the whole opera house premise. But I have kind of set up that astrology and constellations in the sky obviously is a big thing in this universe because everyone, for the most part, lives in the air now. So instead of black robes, I gave them blue and purple robes with sort of contrasting celestial themes to showcase their personalities. I gave George more of a blue nighttime celestial theme, and then I gave Augustus more of a purple sunny celestial theme. I also gave them opposite hair textures and different hats and kind of tried to style their faces in slightly different ways. I also figured that one reason why they're so good at this whole alchemical process is that they're each really skilled at one side of it. They can kind of put their magic together in a really complementary way and like just make a great burger, you know? So I kind of have a selection of different tools on either side. Like one side is more seasoning, condiment heavy, and the other one is more preparation, process heavy. I gave them a giant knife and a giant spatula, which I'm realizing for the processes I have set up should probably be switched around, but you get the gist of it. Anyways, George and Augustus are so silly. This entire premise and design is so dumb, and I had so much fun with it. I absolutely love it. Why is drawing stupid stuff my favorite thing to do with my art right now? I don't know. It's too much power. I'm not exercising responsibility, but you know what? I deserve to draw some stupid stuff sometimes as a treat. So for this next one, I really just wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone and choose an inspiration that I just normally wouldn't tackle. And what better an inspiration than a picture of a bedazzled cockroach, because I freaking hate these things. I live in an area where they will get into your house no matter what time of year it is, how clean your home is, no matter what you do, they will just show up and ruin your day. Have you ever had a cockroach fall on your head whenever you're just trying to walk through your basement? I have, and I'm not someone who minds bugs. I like spiders. If I see a spider, I will either leave it to do its thing because it keeps the other bugs away, or I will kindly put it outside where it belongs. So I thought, you know what, maybe it's time to make my peace with cockroaches. Is it possible to make a cockroach as a character design cute? The Pixar film WALL-E certainly thought so. That cockroach was cute as hell. So for this cockroach character, I wanted to design a sophisticated lady, a woman of taste. I mean, look at her bejeweled vest. She clearly knows fashion. So I kind of wanted to take some of my biases and preconceived notions about cockroaches and make them play into the premise of this character and also of her little pirate ship and crew, because I feel like these guys, they've got to be pirates. Where else are they getting their luxurious jewels from, if not stealing them from the wealthy? So on the surface, I feel like this airship theme would basically be a junker ship, and the crew would be made up of humanoid mutants of cockroaches, rats, possums, pigeons, forbidden cats, you know, animals and creatures that we think of as being pests or like dirty. And I feel like the scavenger theme works really well for all of these guys because whenever they're in our human being space, you know, they're looking for the good stuff. And I feel like that should be reflected in their weird humanoid mutated versions. But I feel like with this humanoid crew, they're gonna play into the stereotype and the whole junker aesthetic of trash and scraps that they have on the outside of their ship. It's all just a front and a disguise because they don't want anyone finding out just how much nice stuff and luxury they've got on the inside of that ship. I think it would be fun if all of the, like, you know, trash animals turned out to be really successful scavengers and pirates and were just really great at getting valuable stuff and ripping people off, and they were just living it up like kings inside of their ship, but they're like, we don't want to broadcast that because then people are going to come and try to steal our stuff. So that's the design idea, the premise behind this hot girl cockroach. That is the file name of this drawing, by the way. She's like the captain, matriarch leader of this little pirate gang. And I think this is what her little at-home outfit would look like, because, you know, if she's out and about, would she broadcast her wealth like this? I don't know. It's a bit of a risk. So I think this is what her fashion would look like whenever she is lounging at home in her quarters or amongst her crew. Whenever she's actually out and about committing her acts of piracy, I think that she would be, you know, very stealthy, adept at martial arts, and can and will cut you. Hence the assortment of knives. I feel like her personality would be very snobby and pretentious and superior, but in that way where you're like genuinely threatened. You know, like she's arrogant, but she could also read you to filth. So crossing her is a bad idea. You just don't want to do that. She also has the backing and respect of a whole crew full of forbidden cats. So I think she has a formidable pirate reputation. For the design itself, I did a pretty straightforward read of the reference image. I kind of just made a cute little cockroach character. I got some inspiration images from a couple of Pinterest character designs for this, just to figure out how I would draw more of a humanoid cockroach. I definitely took a lot of artistic liberties here because, you know, hey, I'll admit it, I didn't feel like looking up reference images of cockroaches to figure out how to like draw the face and stuff. But I basically took the little jewels that were on the back of the cockroach in the reference image and turned it into a little cape collar, and she's got like big old cockroach wings, because where I come from, we have the flying kinds of cockroaches that are so much worse than the normal ones. So I figure maybe she's got a real set of wings, but then she also has a fake set that are part of the cloak just to accentuate, you know, the drama. Otherwise, I gave her pretty minimal clothing. She's got sort of an ascot situation going on with a little sparkly bejeweled cockroach brooch at the top, and then she also has like a little belt to keep her knives on. I tried to think, you know, what would be the attractive part of the body for a cockroach? What parts do you want to accentuate? Definitely like the wings and the legs, you know? So she's also got some tall hot girl boots and some gloves for all of her creepy little hands. But otherwise with the design, I mostly just focused on adding jewelry, lots of little bejeweled stones on her legs. And then I also added some on like her head and antennas. You know, I feel like there's not a ton of ways to wear clothing if you're a cockroach person, so I think, you know, jewelry is probably a big thing for them. Finally, I also added sort of a cane pickaxe fusion to her character design, because as someone who likes gemstones, jewels, that sort of thing, I feel like mining imagery kind of goes hand in hand with that. Not that they mine their gemstones, they for sure steal most of them, but as mutant creatures, maybe they can go down on the surface and like go rummage through caves and that sort of thing. Maybe mining is a hobby of hers. I don't know. I just thought that it was cute. And last but not least, we have a chicken wearing sunglasses with a cute little scarf tied around its head. And this is just one of those images that I saw and I knew I had to do it. I just really like chickens, and this one spoke to me on a spiritual level. So if you can see the early version of this sketch, I was going to go in a pretty straightforward, like turning this chicken basically into a human version of this chicken and make them kind of like a little bit piratey. I was gonna do a straightforward headscarf chicken gajinka, you know? But then I was working on it and I was like, you know what? I am not pushing this idea nearly far enough. This is just, it's too easy. I would really just like to be pushing the envelope as an artist. So instead, I started drawing a creature that's still a little bit humanoid, but is still mostly just a chicken. I was like on Pinterest looking up drawing references of chickens, and I saw this image of a chicken that just had super long legs, and I was like, that is the essence of what I'm trying to capture here. So the in-world premise for this character design, I thought it would be fun if I kind of developed some kind of airship, pirate ship faction. I don't know exactly what they would be, but they are obsessed with like classic American farm culture in the Wild West. And at this point, this would be like lost history for this world, because hey man, the Wild West got nuked out of existence. But I feel like this agricultural cottagecore cowboy stuff is so prolific that people in this universe still like model their whole lifestyle and vibe off of it. And it's basically stuff of legend at this point, because you know, like, you cannot farm on the ground. I'm sure horses don't really exist anymore, and instead of farming livestock, now they are the livestock. Interesting stuff. So this chicken, this hen, I think would be the matriarchal cowgirl leader of this particular cowfolk airship faction. And their entire aesthetic is like this flanderized cottagecore cowboy old living. You're like walking into a kitschy theme diner almost, because like that's the best understanding they have of this culture. So the whole aesthetic is very over the top, and that of course has worked its way into this character design. So at first I was kind of just designing a human-sized chicken with really long legs, and then I was like, that isn't quite mutated enough for me for some reason, so I also added some human arms. Just, you know, for the dexterity of it all. So then, since she had gained dexterity and she's a cowgirl, obviously I was like, she needs to have some guns, which is how a couple of Desert Eagle revolvers found their way into her hands. And I was gonna keep just the revolvers. But then I was like, you know what? No, we need some weapon diversity, and also to show her status and rank as an airship captain. So in one hand, I ended up giving her a revolver with the other one holstered. In the other hand, I gave her a big old trident looking weapon modeled after one of those rakes that you would kind of use to like sift through hay and that sort of thing. Yeehaw, baby. So for the rest of the design, of course, I had to give her the little headscarf that the chicken has in the reference image. I also had to keep the motif of the glasses, but instead of straight up sunglasses, I did end up changing them to sort of steampunk looking goggles just to fit the theme a little bit better, make it look less modern. In addition to that, because my character design method is more, I also gave her a cowgirl hat with a little red feather in it. And once again, to bring some human elements into this design and make it look a little bit less like just a chicken, I took her little red chicken parts and sort of expanded on those into a 1950s style henna brush out. I of course gave her a holster for her gun because a quick draw is essential, and I was gonna give her a little cowboy jacket, but then I decided that that would be logistically weird on this half chicken body, so I gave her just the sleeves, complete with some western fringe. And once again, for the rest of the clothes, it's like logistically, how do you get clothing on this chicken body? So instead I gave her like an apron bloomers contraption that sort of ties with a big bow in the back, once again to just bring in those classic cottagecore vibes in a chicken friendly way. And instead of cowboy boots, I gave her little cuffs on her chicken feet with some tiny little spurs. For what? I don't know. There are no horses in this universe, but I don't know, maybe there's some kind of mutated livestock bird monster that they cultivate to ride and use for meat. I like these kinds of universes a lot that just lean into the absurdist nature, where it's like, it's a very soft world building magic system until it's not. It's giving One Piece, it's giving JoJo, it's giving the weird birds and the boy and the heron that are gonna like try to cook and eat you. I just like the whimsy of it all. It's very charming, and I don't see enough of it, so by golly, I'm just gonna make character designs like this myself. And with that, here's all the weird fellas that I made in today's video. I went off the deep end a little bit this week, but I also had so much fun. The longer that I have progressed in my art journey, the more that I've discovered that there's only so many pretty anime girls that I can draw without getting bored and wanting to instead draw a multi-headed fast food wizard. I hope you guys had fun with these designs, because I certainly did. I don't make any claims that these are necessarily good designs. I literally do not know what application they would even be good for. I know I would not want to draw these multiple times. That would be hell. But I just really enjoy the process of taking an image or just like a visual that's weird and strong and seeing like, what can I make out of it? Especially the weirder it is, like what internal logic can I give to this to make it make sense and then like turn it into something new. It's one of my favorite things to do right now. And I also really enjoy the iterations of these videos that are a little bit more relaxed, because like I said, this is the second video that I've made this week. Listen, we're not gonna talk about it. I never said that time management was like a strength of mine, but whenever I make these videos, I can kind of just play, stretch artistic muscles, entertain weird ideas that I maybe wouldn't want to entertain in my more serious character design videos. So let me know if you would be okay with me making more silly stuff like this. I know you probably would, but I do try to put like effort and thought into my character design videos and try to like make them make sense, but sometimes it's just hard, and I want to draw a cowgirl chicken. Would you be okay with that? Let me know. I also, as some of you know, in my my civilian time have been consuming a lot of Drawfee, which is having its fair share of influence on my work and on this channel. So I think it also would be fun if I could get a guest on one of these episodes at some point soon. I think it would be so much fun to have multiple artistic brains going on in these episodes. I may have already reached out to a friend of mine to see if they would maybe want to be a guest on an episode soon, so fingers crossed I can figure out the logistics of that and make it happen, because I think it would be super fun. I would love to have some other artist, content creator guests on an episode at some point, but you know what? I don't know people yet. If you want to know me, let me know. I'm bad at reaching out to other people, so baby steps. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you submitted an image for this video. I got so many submissions, and I always do, and I wish that I could get to every single one of them, but I only have one functional art hand. Regardless, I still appreciate all of you so much. Your submissions are such good food for my art brain. Finally, the biggest thank you for this video, and every single video that I make goes to my amazing patrons, and especially to my executive producers. They're the finest chefs in the land, and they could probably start some kind of food wizard cult if they wanted to. They are that charismatic. Mossy Raven, Seno Takai, I'm not saying that name on the internet, ABW Makes, Sarah, Crimson Moon 04, Liana, Armler Jean, Anubix, Breeza, Sony, Brian, Phoenix, Rose Draconi, Ira, Freedom and Gus Gus, Francesca Sliwa, Kat, Dodo, Zyle S, Agent.Sketchy, Thea Maya, Lovisa, Eloquent Silence, Megan Penland, Enozine, India Gloom, Hypnos, Katie, Sweet Winter Garden, Gravity Drop, I Hang Out with Cats at Parties, and Bean the Bread.